We are live.
Hi.
Jean-Luc, Jay. How you guys feeling?
Like
Jean-Luc, you look
Hogwarts.
tired. What did you do today?
Oh, we had like this amazing team building with our team, and we went to Brownsburg and
Yeah, some of our
Frederiksberg.
team members, some, not
Yes, yes.
all.
Unfortunately, some of us had to
Right,
work.
Jay?
Some of us had to work. Jay had to work. So, Jay, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And how has it been in Suriname so far?
Well, I mean, because the entire conference relies on me to put it together, to get the speakers, the sponsors, to make sure that the coffee is hot, to make sure that the
Right.
toilets are clean. I just couldn't afford to go and swim with the dolphins, but I'm feeling okay.
Well, I'm glad, Jay, that you're in full control and that you're going to make sure that this year's conference is just epic.
Yes, Ruth, look at these hands. Do you feel like you're in good hands?
I'm safe. We're safe. Jean-Luc, we're in good hands. They're shaky hands, but good
So,
hands.
I feel we should, like the viewers that are watching this as well live as in the relay, I think it's important that people understand that we're going to do the show specifically for the attendees of the social media conference 2020,
That is correct.
the social media conference Suriname 2022. And we want to focus a little bit on the programs, questions there still are, things that people should know about. And basically, we're announcing tomorrow that we're sold out. So that's a great achievement. Yes, yes, we're gonna announce it tomorrow, and so we're actually not gonna give away a ticket because we
Sadly,
can't actually give away a ticket, but we are going to upgrade somebody. So because we have a guest today, Jay, you got to choose between. Let me see if I can get the lightning right. Between
yeah, it's good.
dragon, you have to choose between the dragon
Yeah.
or the apple. So is it gonna be dragon or is it gonna be apple? Which one is it gonna be?
Ooh, and
Dragon
then
or
and then
apple?
like someone wait, so what actually am I choosing?
You're choosing the word that's gonna be used for somebody who's gonna get an upgrade. So for everybody tuning in who has a community pass, but it's like, hey, I want an all access pass. We are gonna upgrade somebody that has a community pass and upgrade them to an all access pass. And you get to decide if that secret ingredient for that person is going to be the apple or the dragon.
Well, then you already know what I'm gonna pick. It's got to be the Mystic Dragon.
Yeah, I knew I was
Okay.
going to say
Okay.
that.
So for people tuning in, just so it's clear, if you type in dragon and
Hashtag dragon.
hashtag dragon into the comments, so if you're listening or watching this show, whether it's live right now or you're listening to or watching the relay, and you put in a hashtag dragon as a comment between now and Wednesday, 12 p.m., you get the opportunity to have your community pass for the conference to be upgraded to an all access pass.
And it also increases the odds by at least 1,000% that you get gifted with a baby dragon before the end of your life.
Will the dragon be coming from you, Jay?
I think he's mentioning the sponsor of us who is going to hand out some baby dragons. I think because that's the only scenario where this works. And maybe to make it a little bit clearer. So can we just quickly talk about the difference between the community pass and the all access pass? Is
Yeah,
there a
I
way
can
that we?
help you out with that,
Okay,
Jean-Luc.
okay.
'Cause, I'm pretty sure Jay also needs this information. So we have the all access pass and the community pass. The all access pass, like the name itself says, it gives you all access. You get access to the keynote sessions, the individual sessions, the workshops, the networking party. But we can't forget lunches. Food is very important. So you get lunches on both days. And most important of all, you get the recordings of each session. Because as you guys already know, we're going to be having simultaneous sessions, which means there will be times where there will be two sessions going on at the same time, and in some cases, three sessions going on at the same time. And you can't split yourself to attend all three of them. So it's important to get the recordings. That way, you can always go back and listen to or watch the sessions that you missed. So that's a bit about the all access pass, and then you have the community pass. And the biggest difference between an all access pass and a community pass is that the community pass doesn't include the lunch and the recordings of the sessions. So if you're someone who's like, all that's important for me is attending the sessions, I don't need lunch, I'll just cover that myself, and I'll need the recordings because I already strategically know which sessions I want to attend, then the community pass is for you. But if you want to have access to everything, every single aspect of the conference, then I suggest going for the all access pass, or that's what I suggested because technically we're already sold out. But if you want to upgrade from a community pass to an all access pass, go ahead and comment #Dragon because that's what we're going to be doing today. Does that help, Jean-Luc?
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So what I think is great is that for those of you who are thinking like, okay, do I need the upgrade? Just for the fact that you're going to comment Dragon between now and Wednesday 12 p.m. means you're going to get the recordings, which I think is the most important part. But also you're getting lunch, 2 lunches worth of SRD 250. So I think it's definitely worth it to at least try and comment. So feel free to comment, and your comment is eligible until Wednesday 12 p.m. when we decide who gets upgraded. I think there's also another thing that we should mention is that there will be a Facebook group during the event. So there will be a Facebook group called Social Media Suriname, where we will post regular updates, where you as an attendee are allowed to post as well. Because we feel like, yeah, we could do it in a mobile app, but let's make it a little bit more social media minded. I know people will feel left out if they're like, hey, but I'm not on Facebook. Are you really going to tell me to be on Facebook? For this year, actually, yes. And if you don't have an account on Facebook, it's perfectly fine. There are not enough activations for you to win something during the conference as well. So that's something we'll get into a little bit more later into the show. But I just wanted to mention that this show is specifically for attendees who are coming to the social media circumference Suriname 2022 because we wanted to do something extra for everybody that's attending and no information to be left out.
I think that's pretty clear, Jean-Luc. And we have Jay over there just staring at us and waiting when we start asking questions. So maybe we can talk to Jay a bit before we get all into the conference, because you might be wondering, who is this guy that's just sitting there and watching? Jay, for the people who don't know who you are, do you mind doing a short introduction?
Yes, so I am personally a listener, a reader, a traveler, and professionally, I get to work with organizations that are working on social causes and community causes that I care about. And I get to help them with their communication strategy and their creative direction.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool that you mentioned creative direction, because you're going to be doing not one, but 2 workshops at this year's conference. I remember at the beginning, we couldn't actually decide what you would talk about. And then you were like, hey, Ruth, how about instead of 1 workshop, I just do 2? It's like, but Jay, won't that be too much effort? But low-key, I was happy that you suggested that. So we discussed it internally, and then we finally decided, hey, Jay's going to do 2 workshops this year. And I know that you find it very important to be able to not just give information, but really be hands-on and have people obtain knowledge, but also immediately get to see how they can apply it to their businesses. So maybe you can tell us a bit about what you have in store for us with those 2 workshops.
Yes, and again, you're in very, very good hands during the workshops. Don't be afraid. This is a natural condition. I can turn it on, and I can turn it on more. So don't worry about that. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing...
I thought that was my internet connection. I'm sorry. I thought it was my internet connection.
I love what Diego said in the comments, though. He's like, spirit fingers. Yeah, let's call it that. Yeah, we'll call it spirit fingers. Yeah, so I get to do 2 workshops with you all this year, one on Thursday and one on Friday. The first one on Thursday is going to follow directly after Jean-Luc's incredible keynote, and there's some entertainment before that is going to blow your socks off. And I'm going to be walking people through how to go through a complete rebrand. This is more than just changing the design and the aesthetics and the look of a brand. and far more about the processes that you have to take in order to emotionally pull off a rebrand with your client or your boss or your internal team, as well as trying to understand what a brand identity actually is when you start to sprinkle in the customer's view of your brand. So it's essentially a workshop where I'm going to show you what I do with my own clients who are going through either a complete rebrand or a brand refresh, depending on where they're at. And the second workshop on Friday is one that I'm particularly excited about because it's part of the work that I get to do most often with the organizations that I get to work with around the world, and especially in the US, which is designing an advanced communication strategy with a team of 3 people or less.
Okay. Jean-Luc, do you have anything that you're
Yeah, I
curious?
want to know, like, okay, so like, am I invited? Am I invited to the second session if I have a team of 3 or more?
That's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. The reason why I added that into the title is because of 2 reasons. One is the practical aspect of this. So most of the organizations that I work for are nonprofit, NGOs, community-driven organizations that may not have large marketing teams. And the average that I see within those organizations, the average size of a team is 3. And often it fluctuates up and down, but just by 1 or 2, and then with a few contractors, which is something that I'm going to talk about in the session. So that's the practical reason. But the other reason is because even if you have a team that is larger than 3, say you have a team of 12 or a team of 15 or 20, what you're naturally going to find is that you lose efficiency and productivity and creativity when the teams that are working on a particular project start to balloon too far outside of 3 or 4 people in it. And I guess the reason 2.5 is that when you think about designing something for 3 people or less, what you're really designing is a replicable system that will benefit teams that are much larger than 3 if you choose to implement these things. So if you have a team larger than 3, you're more than welcome to join too.
That's good to know. That means we can go, Jean-Luc. So we can definitely
Yeah, we should
today's
definitely
session.
hang
If
on
he'll have
today's
us, of
session.
course.
So,
Um,
Ruth, maybe it's good for people to know how they will be able to register for these sessions, because we're talking about workshops.
Yeah.
They're like simultaneous sessions, and how are we going to be able to provide enough opportunity for everyone going to the conference
So the participants
to
of
attend these
the
sessions?
conference, anybody who's got a community pass will get an email from our team in which we'll be sending them the link to pre-register for whichever workshop they're interested in. So if you've purchased your community or all access pass, be sure to look out for the email this week. And then you get to choose which sessions, which workshop you want to attend, and then we'll be sure to keep that list. And then when you get to the workshop room on Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday, you'll be able to let in. But of course, if you didn't pre-register and you'd still like to attend, that means that the people who did pre-register get to go in first. And if there are a few free seats available, you can attend. But it's first come, first serve, or first signed up, first served in this case. It's pretty easy, Sean. It's not that difficult. Just look up for the email. But Jay, there was something that I want to ask, because you mentioned that your session about rebranding, it's not just about changing your logo, because that's something that I think is quite a misconception at times. Sometimes companies think, oh, we changed our logo, so we did a whole rebranding. But it's a lot more than that, because changing your logo, changing your colors, or changing your style can also impact how people view you. So how interactive will that session be, and what are the key takeaways of that workshop?
Yeah, so the branding workshop is going to be somewhat interactive. It's not going to be as interactive as the Friday workshop about designing the advanced communication strategy, but you'll still be able to walk away with some proof that you were there. And that has been something that's been very important to me as I've gone and been able to coach people and consult with people and organizations about how to do this. Is I I know that there are plenty of people who are good at standing on a stage in a session and delivering content, and that's not within my core strengths. I also know that when you go to a conference, you're going to be downloading a lot of information while spending time away from the business that you work for or the business that you're working on. And so I want to find a way where my personal contribution doesn't add to that overwhelm that you're feeling, and that you can walk out with something actually finished, or at least something where you got momentum started on that project. So for the branding workshop and for the workshop on Friday, we're going to start mostly with a self identification of your brand and just getting a sense of where you are. For the branding workshop, that's probably going to be the only thing that you walk out with, but it's incredibly valuable because brand identity, if we're treating brands like individuals and like personalities and as living, breathing things that are constantly evolving, the same way that we as individuals need to take moments of calm and to step away to see where we. So that's going to be an important thing for you to be able to take back to you if you are the CEO, the director of marketing, a member of a marketing team, or a consultant or agency that's working with other clients. You're going to at least get that aspect of that.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely convinced today. I don't know if I'll get a chance to attend because you know how crazy things get behind the scenes. But if I happen to be free at that time, I'll be sure to come take a quick look at the workshop. Shanuk, what about you though? Will you be attending any sessions at the conference if you get the chance?
I love that question. I always think like, yeah, I'm gonna attend every session, and then um, things get caught up,
And then stuff happens.
and then stuff happens. I will be trying to attend every session, even if it's just partially.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of sessions that I'm looking forward to. But I'm gonna be honest that right now, the first thing after this live that I'm going to do is actually talk a little bit and think a little bit about my opening keynote. There are a couple of narratives that I want to discuss. Of course, there's the social media narrative. We should always discuss what's the state of social media in Suriname, what is the
Yeah.
state of social media in the world, how can
Latest
we take
trends.
advantage of it. But there are also some societal changes, generational changes that we also need to address. We should be aware of changes that are going on in the world. And I think about a month ago, I posted on it like when we used to watch, like the World Cup is coming up. And when we look at the sponsors of the World Cup and big sporting events, there used to be certain brands. And now these brands, all of a sudden, TikTok is sponsoring the European Championship football. Um, the NBA has Oculus from Facebook as a media partner. The NBA Finals is actually being is being broadcasters with YouTube TV, and YouTube has actual YouTube creators come in to do extra behind the scenes footage that would usually go to a television network. So all these changes are coming, and then we're just talking about social media. We're not talking bigger about the whole fourth industrial revolution. We're not talking about the metaverse. We're not talking about all these topics that are somehow intertwined or connected with social media that also influence the world that we live in. So I feel there's so much information, but the biggest problem is like, how do you put it all together? How do you make sense of it? And also, how does it impact you and your business? So I feel we really should talk more about the impact that changes in society are having. Like one of the biggest changes is COVID. Like we don't have to, even if we are on a different spectrum of what COVID meant to us in our lives, everybody agrees that COVID has had a certain impact on your brand, on your business, on everything. But COVID is not the only thing that's impacting your business. COVID is not the only thing impacting the marketing. There are a lot of factors that impact everything that you do on a daily life when it comes to social media. And we're going to dive a little bit into how are other things affecting the landscape, the social media landscape as well, and how is it affecting you as a person. And I think that's why we focused on the session, or I focused on the session, to be focusing on creating online careers. Because one of the things that we love to talk about, and this is the last tangent I'm going to give about the talk, one of the things that we love to talk about in Suriname is we want to do more export. We want to produce and export. But when we talk about production and export and getting like cash in, like euros and US dollars in, we often think of just physical goods, like producing physical goods to be exported out as a country. But we don't talk about producing content or social media content and exporting that as a country. So I feel the necessity to also highlight other ways of thinking that could benefit us when we're aware of how we use social media as well.
Okay. Sean secretly found a way to also highlight your session and try to convince me to attend as well. But I'm kind of wondering what Jay thinks of everything you said just now. Jay, will you be attending Sean-Luc's session? Or will you be
Yes.
sitting in a bit prepping for yours?
No, I'm there. So my mother is Filipino, and this is something that allows me to resonate with what Jean-Luc is talking about when it comes to exporting physical goods versus any sort of other idea. And I think it's really important to be able to move away from non-sustainable exporting and move towards something that is much more sustainable if protected well. And that is intellectual property, that is showing up on time, that is being able to do project management from abroad or a specialized skill from abroad. And it can also mean creating your own content about those things and earning money for yourself outside of the service industry with that. I mentioned the Philippines because the number one export of the Philippines is actually its human capital. It's the nurses, it's the doctors, it's the house laborers, it's those sorts of things that get exported. And what happens to a country when all of that is sent abroad is that, especially in times of crisis, you find that you're short of many of the skills that you actually needed to be able to survive a crisis and come out on the other side better than how you went into it. So I'm definitely going to be a Jean-Luc's keynote. Plus, I've got to hear that song that's going to happen right before he steps on stage.
So did he
So
reveal
Jay
that
is
to you? 'Cause
really,
he hasn't revealed it yet to me.
yeah, there's really, there's like putting like there's information being put out there right now that is specifically a surprise for the people attending the conference.
You can send me a message, Sean, so I can.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. So before we go to a short break, Red, what's one of the things that people are asking the most about that we have to clarify doing this live for people who are actually attending the social media Suriname conference 2024?
Okay, on top of my head, we covered lunches just now. Oh wait, did we cover lunches?
Well,
No.
we haven't fully covered lunches because if I want to go, so say I have an all access pass and I want to have lunch. How does that work this year? Where do I go?
Okay. So here's the breakdown. This is actually one of the big changes, or one of the changes that we'll be having this year. What we've done, Jean-Luc, is there was COVID for 2 years, as you all may already know. And during those 2 years, the conference was fully digital, and it was a hassle to figure out, okay, how can we keep the conference spirit alive, even though it's just virtual? And one of the things that was a part of the virtual conference was lunch deliveries. That's when we partnered up with multiple restaurants that are close to Purarica, where we normally hosted our conference. And they actually delivered the lunches to each participant's house. And so that's one of the things that made the virtual conference a very unique and still personal experience. So what happened, Jean-Luc, is we actually kept that partnership that we had the past 2 years with these restaurants, and we created a system in which we made it possible for all access participants to just go with the voucher that they'll be receiving at the registration area. So what will happen is when you arrive at the registration booth, you're going to get your lanyard, and you also get a chance to go to the lunch booth or the lunch registration. And when you're at the lunch registration, that's where you're going to get a little voucher from us, and you can use that voucher to grab your lunch at the restaurants that are mentioned on the voucher. And it's going to be restaurants that are like a 5-minute walk, 2-minute walk, just across the street, and you're there. So we're going to have multiple options each day at every restaurant. So you can just form a group of 3 or 4 and just decide, hey, we're going to go to this restaurant. But what's important is that you let the people at the lunch registration booth know where you decided to have your lunch, so that we can prep the restaurants ahead of time. Does that make any sense to you, Sean?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm now, of course, wondering, like, on the practical side, I think also important is that because we have the Facebook group, you'll be able to connect with other attendees before the conference to say, like, hey, where are you gonna have lunch? Are you gonna have lunch at Tanchelo? No, you're gonna go abroad to like at FAD or like the garden, or no, you're gonna go into the street with all the Pannenkoek and Poffertjes Cafe and the Dijk. So there are like multiple options that people can go to, and then basically you can, in the Facebook group, already kind of connect with people that are also attending to see where you're gonna have lunch. So I think that's a really interesting change, where we're not sure how it's going to end up, but are you gonna have lunch with Jay on a Thursday or on Friday?
It depends, sometimes, it depends on how Jay is feeling. If he's still best friends with me, then we can have lunch together, right, Jay?
Yeah, I'm a very moody person.
Yeah. So it depends on how he's feeling, but if he's okay, then I'm good. We can have lunch. Sean, I think we've spoken a lot, but one of the important things that we need to mention is the show would not be possible, the conference would not be possible without our amazing sponsors. So I think we should take some time to thank our sponsors. Take us away, Gail.
Ik lust een Big Mac.
Ik lust een topies. Ik lust een Happy Meal.
Je favoriete maaltijd wordt nu nog sneller voor u geleverd. Download de McDelivery Su-app via de Play Store of de App Store en krijg je favoriete McDonald's maaltijd veilig geleverd. Hoe werkt het? Vul uw gegevens in. Kies uw favorieten. Uitchecken? Wij bezorgen.
Bent u een startende ondernemer, een ervaren ondernemer of doet u internationaal zaken? Er is één bank die u 24/7 en overal bij u kan hebben. Al uw bankzaken tot aan uw vingertoppen. Thuis, op kantoor, onderweg. Of bij uw vertrouwde bank. De Hakringbank is uw financiële partner bij elke ondernemende stap. Vanaf het kleine begin tot de grootste dromen. Hakringbank denkt met u en uw business mee. Makkelijk zaken doen met de Hakringbank.
Twice the fun. Twice the thrill. On your next trip with Copa Airlines, stop over in Panama and enjoy 2 vacations in one at no additional airfare. Because to live life at its fullest, first you have to stop. So next time you fly Copa Airlines, stop over in Panama at no additional airfare.
Ice pops.
Fernandez Ice Cream.
What gives rum its soul? Is it in the soil, the crop itself, or the toil of the farmer? Maybe something raw, something elemental, taking pride in every single detail. Is it in the very wood itself, within these ancient stills? Perhaps the passing on of knowledge and the handing down of skills, from generation to generation, celebrating time-honored traditions, preserving the character within. Or simply time. Time and patience. Perhaps 300 years of craft, passion, of wisdom. It is all these things that gives our rum its soul. El Dorado, crafted richer, aged deeper.
Can you hear me, Jean-Luc?
I can hear you clearly now. I was just thinking of seeing those commercials as well. Like, okay, if somebody like Jay is visiting the conference, like, how can you learn more about the sponsors?
Sponsorships of the conference, as in how can people or companies sponsor the conference?
Oh, like I'm attendee. I want to know more about the sponsors of the conference.
Mm.
How do I reach out to them? Is there a way I can reach out to them?
Well, the first step is awareness. So I would head on to social media professor and have a look at all of the sponsors that we have this year so that you can know who you can expect at the conference. But of course, Jean-Luc, just like in 2019, and that's one of the fun parts of the in-person conference, we're going to be having quite a few sponsor booths. So quite a few of our sponsors are going to be having a booth in the ballroom of Trárica Resort. And basically, participants can go up to each booth to not just learn more about these companies, but also win fun prizes. Because I know a few of the sponsors, I'm not going to give away who it is, but they've got special prizes in store for people who visit their booth. So I definitely suggest that once you're at the conference, you just check out each booth and you could be a lucky winner at each one of those booths or a few of those booths or one of those booths. But either way, it's always fun to win a prize. So I definitely recommend to check out the sponsor booths at the conference.
Does,
Did I
does
miss
one of
anything?
those does one of those prices include like a ticket for next year?
I heard something about that. I heard something about a ticket, but I'm not sure if I should be the one to to give
talk
that
about
away.
Okay, so I see Jay's already thinking like, what I want, when are those moments? So basically, every day there are at least 2 to 3 moments that you can go up to the booths. On Thursday, actually, in the morning before 9 p.m., you can already visit the booths before the official program starts. But also between 11:30 and 2:30, there's going to be an opportunity to visit the booths as well. And last but not least, there's also going to be the opportunity after the closing keynote of day one between 5:15 and 6 p.m. There's also going to be an opportunity. And then as well on the second day, during kind of the lunch break and in the morning, you're able to visit those different booths and the different sponsors that are there at the conference. And of course, the sponsors that weren't able to join with a booth will have some way that you will be able to reach out to them when you're at the conference. So make sure to check out the program. There will be some kind of map or something helping you figure out where they all are. Some of the sponsors will be only at the event and in the ballroom, and other sponsors will actually be at the networking party as well, which I think is the highlight for many people as well to join us on the networking party on
For
Thursday.
Jay.
Jay, do you have like recommendations for both the watching and going to the sessions and some recommendations for the networking party?
Whoa. Come hydrated, come caffeinated, and for both the sessions, especially Jean-Luc's session, and the networking party, come ready to party. Is that good?
That
That's not
sounds
what you wanna
good.
do. Yeah,
So
that sounds good.
caffeinated, we should mention that there will be coffee. There
And
will
it's
be coffee.
free.
There's free coffee at the event, so that's something worth noting. So special thanks for that. But I think also we wanted to point out that it's important not just to think like, hey, I'm going to learn from the sessions, and I forgot there are actually some booths there, and there's some pretty awesome deals. I heard things that sponsors are going to that are like, hey, that's something I have been trying to do for like a couple of months, even maybe a year, and I can do it at a conference. That's awesome. I can figure it out at the conference. So I definitely think there's a big opportunity there as well. We have kept it a little bit more private, so you're not allowed to go to the booths if you're not actually attending the conference. Like a fair, it's not like a fair. It's really for specifically for attendees. That also means that the people that are in the booth and the deals that will be available in those booths are specifically for the people that are attending the conference.
Question for Jay.
Yes.
Jay, do you remember 2019's networking party, or is it all vague?
Yes.
Is that a yes to it being fake?
There was photo evidence that it happened.
I remember Jay all up on the dance floor. Are you going to be dancing again this year, Jay?
Come on. That's the Caribbean vibe. Of course I'm going to be dancing.
Was it on beat? I don't remember if it was on beat or not.
No, because
It wasn't.
the thing, probably the reason why I am where I am today is because I do not listen to other people's beats. So it was probably just a little offbeat.
Wise man. Wise man.
Okay, before we continue on, there's an extra party this year, which is during the opening because we're going to open up with a red carpet show. We have been talking
Yeah.
about this concept for quite some time. So the dress code for the first day is actually social media. Yeah, so if whatever you feel like represents you on social media, come dressed that way on the first day. The general dress code is business casual, but on the first day, if you're going to be on the red carpet, why not come your social media self, the way that you want to be on social media, and get the most out of that as well. And for me, I think I kind of said everything that I want to say about the conference, so that I'm hoping for you to pick some little more tips and tricks that we can give the people that are tuning in. And before Red does that, please remember we have the dragon, people. We have the dragon. So don't forget to comment hashtag Dragon. Don't forget to comment hashtag Dragon if you want your community pass upgraded to an all access pass. So to clarify, if you haven't heard before, if you comment hashtag Dragon on the stream that you're watching it on, so whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn on YouTube, and you comment hashtag Dragon, you can actually upgrade your community pass to an all access pass if you're the lucky winner, which we will announce on Wednesday. So you have until Wednesday, 12 p.m. to post comment hashtag Dragon to this video, and maybe you're the lucky winner who gets upgraded from community to all access.
Okay, Shauna, I think we've had it. You talked a bit. You asked if I had any final tips for the participants of the conference. All I can say is, hey, we're having an in-person conference again in 2 years. So I am definitely as introverted as I am excited to see everyone in one space again and get to network and just meet everybody. And I hope you guys are too. So be sure to come with it. And that you would say good humor. I hope we're as excited as we are. Bring your notebooks, everything you need to make some notes. Be sure to bring good appetite because the lunches. And apart from that, bring your dancing shoes because we're also going to be having the networking party on the first day. So you definitely can't forget your dancing shoes. And above all, I think it's going to be a very, very, very conference comeback because we're expecting between 350 and 400 people.
We're expecting fireworks this year. We have to clarify. We are expecting fireworks. Also, except for one speaker who's still actually in Panama for another conference talking about the same topic that he's going to be talking about in Suriname. All the international speakers have already arrived in Suriname.
Oh yeah, it's not just Jay.
It's not just Jay, but it's really happening. It's really happening. So people, we are excited about Thursday and Friday. We really want to get you guys to get ready, get the most out of it. Make sure to join the Facebook. If you're on Facebook, make sure to join the Facebook group, which is Social Media Suriname. And in that group, we can have discussions about anything on the program. We'll give some daily updates. We'll find ways to make it more enticing and get you ready to get into the Social Media Conference Suriname 5. And for me, that's all I want to say. I'm excited. I want to go.
I'm excited as well. Jay, anything to add before we close out?
I'll see y'all there.
I'll see you guys on Thursday. Actually, I'll see you guys tomorrow in the office. So, yeah, have a good night, everybody. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on Thursday at Doradica. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye.